Fellas. Man, oh man. It's been a minute. It's been too long. We needed some content. We coming in hot and ready, $5 foot long. We in there like swimwear. Obi-Wan Kenobi, host with the most, often imitated, never duplicated. Man, another hour too sweet to be sour. We are back. Dynasty Till Death, where we're doing league reviews today. We kind of breaking down the first round. We're going to go 1 through 12. We're going to cover everybody as far as where I think they're going to go with their picks, what they may do with their picks, team trajectory, areas of concern. Whew. We got a lot going on, man. Let's run it. Back like we never left. So, we're going to dive right in, people. First round this year, super exciting. There was a race towards the end of the season for that 101, that tank, that battle for Bijan, and Mr. Greg was the victor. So we have Greg at that 101. I think this is a situation where the owner really just needs to take Bijan here. I mean, obviously there are all kinds of bags that somebody could get for that 101. We all are staring at that 101 pick like it's that gold, that treasure piece. But this is a situation also, if you need running back, you should be taking running back. Bijan was a stud, didn't create any questions at the combine, kind of shut everything down with just how flawless his performance was. Stacked on top of already being somebody who we've been hyping ready for and ready to draft for about 2 years now. Some managers more than others. But that just goes to show you, man, sometimes if that player's there, if that Jamar Chase is there, if that Bijan Robinson's there, even that Breece Hall's there, take that pick. But that value will never go away. If you want to trade that player later for that same bag they're offering you on draft day, that's fine too. But Greg's in a position with Ezekiel Elliott as his RB1 that he has to take Bijan here. I just don't see any other area outside of if somebody, again, throws a ridiculous bag at him with running backs, of young players as well to help kind of retool. You got to remember, Greg is not going to appeal to older players. Traded me Devontae Adams last year, so he's trying to trend away from that. So, depends on what somebody's willing to spend, but my advice, Greg, take the pick, bro. Take the pick. Bijan will do tremendous things for that roster. Great young core there already. John Dodson, CeeDee Lamb, got Dallas Goedert. We're going to add Bijan in there, and then we're going to circle back with Greg because he also has the 110. So that is my feedback for Greg, is to hold tight, sir. Hold tight. Next, 102, Jam Master J. We got Justin, man. Justin has kind of been, I don't know how Justin's been doing this. He keeps getting these top picks, and his team is not bad. I just think he has like bad luck, but he still ends up getting these studs. So 102 is tough, man. 102 is real tough. He's got a decision to make. I think the decision is clear. I don't know if the answer is. JSN and Jahmyr Gibbs are the 2 and the 3. Depending on who you are and where you're at with them, you may have one or the other in a different position, but I don't think anybody is wrong taking either one of these players at 2 or 3. Justin's core and build right now, he got some great young wideouts. He has George Pickens. He has Devontae Smith. He has Jameson kind of waiting to see if he's going to turn into what we think he's going to turn into. And then he's got the vets. He's got the Mike Williams. He's got the Odell. Looks like Odell's going to be signing with the Jets. Did not expect that to happen. But not a terrible spot if Rodgers wanted him there, because he will throw him the ball. That being said, running back room, Breece Hall, Saquon Barkley, Breece coming off that injury. So Justin's in a position, man, he could really lock up the running back room for the next couple of years by going Jahmyr Gibbs. That is where I would lean. Already having 3 young rookie, or not rookie, but just younger wide receivers that you're fond of. I know he feels strongly about Devontae Smith. I know he felt Jameson Williams was probably his favorite wide receiver coming out of the draft last year. And, I mean, Slim Pickens, man. What you say about Slim Pickens? George Pickens is a dog. But that being said, man, I mean, you already kind of have that core in place moving forward. I think with Saquon, if you kind of want to play that game with Saquonimus Rex, then it's good to have those younger running backs coming in behind him. So I see him taking Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a stud. Kid is just explosive, electric coming out. Pass game is super elite. If Bijan Robinson wasn't in this draft class, we would all be very excited about Jahmyr Gibbs as the RB1 in this class. I just want to make sure people understand that. But that being said, again, if he wants to go JSN, that's not a problem there. Those are the two picks regardless. I don't care who you are. If you're not picking them, forget about it. Questions? First questions of the season, dog? Come on, man. I do see Justin going with Gibbs there. But it'll be very interesting, man. Very, very interesting. I don't think he's coming off that pick. We've had multiple conversations. I do not think he's coming off that pick. So, Justin, he will always make the right decision. Fantastic owner. Fantastic dude. So, we're going to see how that goes. 1-0 Tree. We call you Tree Times. We call you Jeff with a G. Jeff with a G, my dog. So, as we said, 2 and 3 are kind of destined, man. Jeff's in a position where he's going to see what Justin does, and he's going to be in a great situation regardless. He's going to get JSN or he's going to get Jahmyr Gibbs. And either would be a great play for Jeff in his roster. He has Javonte Williams. He has Ken Walker. He's already got Jamar Chase, obviously, Drizzy Drake London, and then we got Hollywood Brown and Rashad Bateman. Jeff has been in this retool or rebuild for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. I think we're finally starting to see what his roster, like all that work and that patience, and it's not fun sucking, man. I think we just need to remember that. Like, it's not fun not being good. I think we're all super competitive here, so it is not fun not being good. That being said, Jeff, I got to give you your kudos, man. Good young core. Herbert's looking like he's leading the pack. The team is taking its shape and its form, and Jeff is in a position with 103 and 105 that we should see 2 more studs coming onto that roster that are young and that are going to be on his team for a while. So I think JSN or Gibbs is a great addition. I'm not a big Javonte guy, so I would be leaning towards Gibbs. But we all know that wide receiver is going to last a little bit longer there. So if the trend needs to be, JSN, I don't think anybody's mad about that because JSN is probably the safest prospect in this draft, not named Bijan Robinson. 104, Zachariah, Zach Attack, co-champ. Zach's done a fantastic job. I think we just got to speak to that. Olave, Amon-Ra, who he was a believer in early on, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, just acquired Miles Sanders in a trade with Johnny Boy. So J.K. Dobbins, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. I mean, he's got some depth pieces. Whether or not you're in love with the trajectory of some of those players, that's a different argument. But he's got some pieces in play. I don't think Zach has a specific need right now, which is a great position to be in, especially with a top 5 pick. So sitting at 104, it's got to be best available there. I think we all want to have that 22-year-old running back tucked away in our back pocket, kind of sitting on our roster and then kind of not leaving us exposed. So Charbonnet is a real possibility, I'm sure. But we all know, again, wide receivers, longevity, man, it's a no-brainer 9 times out of 10. So, Jordan Addison goes to the Chargers, smash. Quentin Johnston goes to the Bills, smash. And again, I don't think Quentin Johnston's going to the Bills. Again, I'm just giving you great landing spots on explosive offenses for these top wide receivers. That's going to be hard to turn away. Simple as that. So, the draft will definitely pave out a lot more of where this top 10 or top first round is going to go with players and things like that. But, I would say all 3 of those players are in serious contention. If Michael Mayer goes to the Chargers, if Michael Mayer goes to the Bengals, since the Bengals don't have anybody since signing Irv Smith. Again, the Bengals don't have anybody since signing Irv Smith. We have to think about that as a top 5 pick. I know this isn't tight end premium, but still, Michael Mayer going to one of those options and maybe the higher mid first round, we got to pay attention to that. So a lot of options there. I say wide receiver. is where Zach goes. I think that's like the safest thing. Zach's very safe. He's not gonna, take too much risk, which is why his team is in such a good shape coming off a shape shift. So then we're going to move to 105, Jeff with a G again. This is interesting. Jeff could really do a lot of things here. I don't know if he's in love with anybody at 105. I know how he feels about 103, and that's just on a different tier, in my opinion. But 105, man. Again, we're talking the same three for Zach. If Addison, Quentin Johnston, Charbonnet, they all go into a situation where they're in great, Charbonnet to the Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? That's a fantastic situation that a lot of people want to be a part of. Like, that's something I'm interested. I've been trying to kind of trade up just so I can be in a position to kind of capitalize on something like that. No guarantees, obviously, but these are the potential things that we have to talk about, think about as we're kind of scouting out where that first round's going to go. And you should be thinking about what type of player you're going to get with your pick. Because some of these picks, there's going to be a cutoff. There's going to be a cutoff where you're no longer happy with the player you're getting with that pick, and then you need to turn and see what you can do and get some value to add to your team with that pick, even if it's not through the draft. So 105, Addison, Mayer, Jeff's got Herbert. If Herbert gets a weapon, I don't know how Jeff doesn't take whatever weapon that is at 105 and stack that with that young quarterback. Jeff's already got a phenomenal young core. He should be in a position where he is a competitor moving forward. That is at least how I'm viewing him, so expect that competitor tax on the trade offers. Big homie. But no, Jeff's done a great job, so I'm excited to see what he does with that 105. He's got a lot of options there, which leads to me at 106. I just recently moved Eckler. Paul had 106 and 108. He still has 108. I moved Eckler. I got 108, 2 seconds, and Keenan Allen. Eckler's going to be great for Paul. I think it was a move that he needed to make. And I needed to make. I didn't want to, I saw the trajectory of your team, which is something I didn't think about as much early on in my dynasty career. But it matters, man. The trajectory of where your team is heading and having assets to be able to make sure you have options is huge. So 106 for me, again, I'm kind of on that back end of the second tier of kind of waiting to see who falls to me, but I'm kind of happy with whatever I get. I'm currently in a position now where I'm either getting Charbonnet, Jordan Addison, or Quentin Johnston. And I would be happy with any one of those picks. You throw Zay Flowers in there as well. Zay Flowers will be somebody there. If I want him, I can take him there. So I'm ecstatic with any situation like that. I was fortunate enough to add Treylon Burks to my roster this year in the offseason to just kind of help again. When you have a player like a Devontae Adams, a Brandon Cooks, you're playing a dangerous game. So we really just need to make sure you have something in development to make sure you don't fall off a cliff with your players. And that's something super important. So that's why either way, when I get Treylon Burks, I can take Charbonnet at 106 and feel okay about it, having kind of two pillars that are young, kind of sitting there marinating, ready to go, kind of coming into their own while I let my vets come out there and hopefully get me in a playoff push. So I'm sitting in a situation at 106, very happy there with whatever lands there, which brings us to our second champ, Drew Kamish, champ, co-champ, Drew, Big Money Drew. His roster is disgusting. It just makes me sick sometimes. Diggs, Garrett Wilson, Godwin, DJ Moore, Dalvin Cook, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. What are we doing as a league, man? What are we doing? How did we let this man get all these players? 2 tight ends, 2 best tight ends. Drew got it. All right, let me stop. Drew's a monster. Roster is insane. Roster is ridiculous. Sitting with that 107. He's in a very interesting situation because Drew is a type of owner where he's going to have to make a decision. Is he going to take another young wideout, kind of stash him on the bench and keep that dynasty outlook kind of just tip-top shape? Or will we have to deal with Drew doing something crazy and trading that 107 for, a stud or a great player and maybe packaging that with another player of his to just tear up again, which would be ridiculous? We need to be ready because Drew's going to be able to make anything. Last year, he moved up in the draft. That's an option. He's got the assets to do so. Again, players we're talking about there, Zay Flowers, Jalen Hyatt. That second tier of running backs, that's kind of that first shot there if you want that second tier after that top three. Tight end. Obviously he knows how to get his tight ends. But do you want to throw another one on there? You want to stash one behind so that way the Kelsey train keeps rolling and segues right into Michael Mayer or Dalton Kincaid? It's just a lot. I'm personally not a Kincaid believer, but I know a lot of people are. So I mentioned Dalton Kincaid for them. But yeah, Drew's got options there. So it's just a scary thing with a team like that coming off a championship. Still having that 107, could move up, could move down. Drew has all the options in the world, and again, as we talked about with Zach, our other champ, they're in a great position because they can take whatever they need or whatever they want. They can take best available there. They can trade the pick. They can do whatever they need to do, and it will be adding weapon and arsenal to that roster. So just in great positions there. I think we just need to give love to our champs as far as just always being in a position to be great. And I think that's a big deal. That's something I'm an advocate of. Be in a position to be great. Put yourself in a position to be great. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. So then we're going to move to 108. Paul, another interesting position there. We're talking Jalen Hyatt, Zay Flowers. I'm a big Zay Flowers fan. I'm also a Jalen Hyatt fan. Didn't love Hyatt's combine, but he tested really, really well. Jalen Hyatt has all the potential in the world there. It's just depending on landing spot and where he goes. And definitely thought he was going to be somebody that went to Dallas to play that Brandon Cooks role, which is still a possibility. But he's interesting, man. Super interesting. Still have those tight ends there available. And again, Paul, A.J. Brown, just traded for Eckler, Jonathan Taylor. Personally, I'd probably be looking at running back. Jonathan Taylor makes me a little nervous more than other owners, and I understand JT is JT. I'm not questioning that. But I didn't like the injuries. We always get concerned, 24, 25. Just go back and look at Josh Jacobs and go back and look at Jonathan Taylor over the past 2 years. They've performed very similar. Not saying they're in the same tier. I understand they're in different tiers. But I just think we need to be aware of the running back market and the trends that have been showing where second contracts are tough. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor will get his second contract. But just kind of be aware, man. 24, 25, injuries start coming up. You need those guys to be safe through that 23, 24, 25 age group. You want them to be healthy. These younger running backs, it's tough. Saquon finally came back to form, but there was a couple years there where it was real rough. His value was definitely on the downward trend. So we definitely just want to be cautious. Just be aware of the JT situation. I still think he's going to be fine. He's got Christian Kirk, Deontay Johnson. I think he's got Juju back there. So Paul, former champ himself, is in a great position also because he went and solidified his need early. The Eckler trade we got done, I think, at 8:01 or 9:01 at our league open. Paul and I were just ready to go and got that first deal off. And I just think it helped both of us as far as getting us what we needed to put our teams in a better position moving forward. So Paul is a stud champ, very comfortable with his assets, doesn't ever feel the need to make too many moves just to make them. So Paul will sit tight, probably take best player available, or potentially move that pick for a veteran straight up. So excited to see what Paul does there. I would lean running back just to have some depth behind there because he does have 4 to 5 wideouts already. But he's probably lacking that young stud wide receiver he can sit and kind of marinate on the bench. So Paul's in a great spot there. 109. Johnny boy! John. Mr. John is in a rebuild. Stick to the plan, John. Stick to the plan. John is in a rebuild. He will be doing his thing. He's already made a few moves. Moving Miles Sanders, acquiring Gabe Davis, Alec Pierce, second first-round pick. So John's taking best available here. John's also in a position he has 109 and 111. If he feels he can go get his guy, he may want to package those two first and move up and go get his guy. that's also a very big option for him. Go get that cornerstone, bro. If you don't want those back end, first round picks to kind of, wait and see if they work out, go get your stud. Go get him. Trade up, do what you got to do, see what the options are there. But a lot of talent there. Again, that second tier running back room. If John wants to take kind of some shots on young running backs, maybe not the highest profile, but I think we all know this running back class is super deep this year. And then again, you're in that era of that Zay Flowers, Jalen Hyatt. I'm a fan. The back end first is kind of where I've been targeting them since the offseason, of where I'd love to acquire both of those types of players is that back end first. Again, believer in Hyatt, believer in Flowers. So I think with 109 and 111, we'll just touch base on they're so close. I think you have to be looking at those options. But John, again, when you're doing your rebuild, brother, you are in a position to take who you like. You don't have to do anything out of pocket. You are taking youth, you're taking upside, you're taking your guys in the situation. You don't have to worry about competing necessarily, because if you select the right talent, you may just be competitive by selecting the right young talent. But the most important thing for you, John, stick to your plan, sir. Stay on the course. So far, so good, my man's 109, 111. Again, lots of options there. A-Chain, Sean Tucker. Tight ends are still sitting there. Kincaid, Mayer, even though I don't think Mayer will be there at 109, but it's a high possibility. If Mayer's there at 109, I'm smashing Mayer there. Unless the situation's horrendous, he goes to, who knows, say they put him behind Isaiah Likely, even though that's not likely. Something like that, just to where he wasn't going to be with maybe a great quarterback or something like that. Then I may pause, but 109, man, I think he's the best tight end. I think he's tight end one. That'd be a great cornerstone piece moving forward. That take time to develop anyway, so you might as well get him on your block while you're rebuilding, so you don't need him to come up right away. Greg, 110. Greg has the 101, the 110, and the 201. So he essentially has 3 first-round picks. Kind of coming through this retool. 110. I say Greg is in a very weird position. When he gets Bijan, he may be able to move that 110 and for a ready-made asset and still compete. He may take 110 and 201 and move up to 107, whatever options he may have available to package with a player to move up to get another top-tier asset. You're adding Bijan already. If Greg can somehow sneak back into the top 5 and add another top 5, talent to that roster, that's something I would be looking to do as well. And then I'll also be willing to go buy a stud. Maybe can I go get a Christian Kirk for the 110? Can I go get, George Pickens for the 110 and the 201? You don't know until you try. But I would say Greg's in a position where I would be looking to secure the running back room. I would be doing my research on these back-end running backs and kind of seeing where they land. Tank Bigsby, Sean Tucker, those types. I'm a big fan of both. Just to be able to add to that room, he can kind of revamp the entire running back room this offseason just in this draft. So that's kind of what I would be thinking about in that regard. Again, lots of options for Greg. Can go either way, but again, having essentially 3 first-round picks, with the 101 being one of them, is huge. And another dangerous team, if he ever decides to be active, Greg could do a lot of great things. But I don't have to worry about that. All right, anyways, my bad, Greg. I just had to take a shot, dog. I can't help myself, man. I can't help it. All right, so 112, your boy Obi-Wan Kenobi, the one and only. Same with the 112 currently. You guys all know I probably won't have that pick in a week, and then I'll probably have it back. And then I'll probably trade the pick, and then I'll probably get the pick back 4 more times before this even happens. So I may not even have this pick, but right now I do. The 112, man, if I can get Jalen Hyatt at the 112, man, smash. If I can get, man, Sean Tucker, Zach Evans is there. If Zay Flowers falls to me at the 112, I'm ecstatic. I feel like I won the draft. Everything's over. I'm probably just going to quit the league because I already won it in my mind, mentally. by getting him at the 112. But I don't think that'll be the case. But I'm the type, I may be looking to move the asset. There's a couple owners that don't have first round picks. A couple owners' teams are trending in the wrong direction. Do they want to come back in and add some youth to maybe help turn their situation around? The 112 and Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm here for you. So that's kind of the situation I'm in. I don't really need anything. I could improve the tight end room for sure. Could add a young running back, which is kind of where that pick falls. So I'm completely fine kind of riding the wave and seeing where it goes. I have 2 first-round picks this year. I may have another one coming down the line. Every year I try to get 3. But we're taking the picks. 106 or 100%. We're taking the pick. 112, we'll see where that goes. But we're adding some youth to the team. Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, James Conner on the bench for some depth. Traylon Burks, Michael Pittman. We're feeling confident, man. We're feeling good to go. We're feeling like the team's in a much better situation trajectory-wise. So super excited for the league, man. So I need y'all to tell me more things y'all want me to talk about. If you guys are enjoying this, this was a little bit of a 30-minute video today. I was just gonna talk and kind of see where things went. So sorry for dragging out. If you listened all the way through, I appreciate you. If you cut it off after 10 minutes or if you hurt your team, I do not blame you, sir. So that being said, man, let me know if you guys want me to cover other things. Talked a little bit about some teams. We can go team by team breakdown if we need to in the future for next video. But I just kind of want to put some stuff out. League is open. Thank you, Drew. League is open. I think we're all ecstatic that the league was turned back on. Little bit of drama and fireworks early on, but it's dynasty to death, man. Do you expect anything other than fireworks? Do you expect it? Because if you do, that's on you. So, host with the most, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the one and only, often imitated, never duplicated. We're logging off for now, but we're going to be back. Stay tuned, folks. Love your leagues. And as always, make trades, not war.